Welcome to Bashy's Corner. We invite guests from all sections of Danish society. We discuss with them politics, religion, culture, sports, whatever issue that relates to ethnic and religious minorities in Denmark. One thing we don't do is just to give a microphone. And we also take those issues which the mainstream media does not dare or maybe doesn't have any information. And to prove that, I have two special guests today. We have Abdul Wahid Pedersen. He is Imam. He is director of Aid organization. And for the last 30 years, he has been working for integration of minorities, Muslim minorities and their rights. But I have promised to him today that I will not discuss politics. Is it okay with you?
That's true.
Thank you. And with you, we have Kenneth. He is also helping you in your organization. The interesting thing is that both of you are converts from, I don't know if you're Christianity or atheism to Islam. Kenneth, why did you convert?
I was getting interested in religion.
Okay.
I've always been a Christian believer.
Okay. A religious person.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just didn't feel home at Christianity, so I did some research and I fell in love with Islam.
All right.
And then about a year later, when I have read some books and stuff like about Islam, I actually came down to Abdul Wahid Pedersen and I did my converting.
It's interesting because Abdul Wahid is the one who has converted most Danes too. So anyway, today, of course, we will discuss your organization, Muslim Aid. Abdul Wahid, I can't help asking you, are you satisfied by not being in limelight as you used to be before for 30 years?
Well, honestly speaking, you know, Bashy, there's a kind of addiction to it. And sometimes that worm starts bugging me again. And I want to go out there and, you know, the flashing lights and the cameras and all of this and state my mind and speak my heart. But then again, there's a sweetness to being out there quietly. And I enjoy that even more. And it gives me more time to turn my gaze inwards when I don't have to turn it towards the horizon all the time. And actually, that was my original onset when I decided to live my life according to religion. It was to turn my gaze inwards. So I'm trying to sort of get back on track on that.
But it's not only inward gaze, your look is also towards all the world. You know, your Danish Muslim Aid is working everywhere.
That's right, but that's not as an opinion maker.
No, but you're helping people.
Yes, but that's as a servant.
Okay.
There's a difference in being an opinion maker where you have to always have opinion and be ready to pass a sharp statement within minutes or even seconds of consideration and continuously having a microphone shoved up your nose. And so now I'm not doing that any longer. When I go out just to reach out on behalf of people in Denmark, reach out a hand to the poor people and help them along in their plight.
And it's much more satisfying.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. On 29th August, coming August, it will be 10 years when Danish Muslim Aid was launched. So where the idea came, you know?
Well, actually, we have postponed our event 1 week, so it will be on the 5th of September.
Okay.
But yes, it's 10 years ago that we launched Danish Muslim Aid, and we did that immediately after the breakdown of an organization we had before called ISRA. ISRA was a world or semi-worldwide web of organizations with the same name.
Yes.
And some of our partners outside Denmark may have or may have not done something which could aggravate somebody. But anyway, we were charged was financing Osama bin Laden, Al-Qaeda and Taliban and some Middle East...
you mean in Denmark?
Yeah.
That's right. There were court case against Israel.
Yeah.
And did you win?
There wasn't a court case. There was an investigation.
Okay.
But after 9 months of investigation, they dropped all charges and said there's nothing, absolutely
Did they
nothing.
apologize to you?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
But they had ruined our organization, so therefore we had to start a new one. And one of our good people here is Kenneth. He's a fantastic one of these guys. You know, he can he runs for 4 or 5 people at a time. He's got an amazing energy.
And you can count on him. You can count on him.
More than that, I mean, and we depend on people like that, because I may be the one who's sort of still taking a lot of the limelight because my name's been out there. But if I didn't have people like Kenneth and other people around, and we have about 100 of them, they're pulling a big load, a big and heavy load, and they're making it possible.
So tell me a little bit the activities of your organization here in Denmark.
Well, maybe Kenneth could share a bit of this.
Well, here in Denmark, we have something called Ramadan Kurven,
Yes.
which we collect money and then we hand it out during the Ramadan for not only Muslim but also Christian poor people.
Okay.
Every poor
So
people.
you make packages and give it to them?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And
in a country rich as Denmark?
Yeah, but we do actually have
poor people?
A lot of poor people. We have about, I think the newest number is about 50,000 who are living under minimum.
Under the poverty line?
Yeah, poverty line, yeah. So we do actually have a lot of poor people in Denmark.
Okay. So you collect money, you do charity work, you help people with the food and, during the Christmas, during Ramadan.
Yeah.
But from where the money comes?
Private donations. We take no government funds or anything. We take only private donations. And last year in 2014, we raised more than 11.5 million Danish.
Excuse me?
11.5 million, yes. In private donations.
In 1 year?
In 1 year. We have a new goal, and maybe you can help us get it.
Okay.
It is 20 in 2020.
2020, we will definitely do all we can. The cause is so noble and so wonderful that people, and I understand that Muslim people, somebody's told me that they are the most generous when it comes to giving money to charities. Is it true?
Well, I think I'm biased, and I'm not. I cannot say that I can truthfully answer this because I don't know what everybody else is giving, but I definitely know that our prime target group, which is the Muslim community in Denmark, is a very, very generous group of people. And even with this 11.5 million, we only reach about, I think, 5,000 people as our donors. And with 200 or 300,000 Muslims in Denmark, we're only tapping into about 2% possibly.
So people come and give you money in your hand?
No, we have accounts.
Okay, so they give it to the bank?
Yeah.
So everything is over the table?
Oh, of course. It has to be. It has to be because, I mean, when you run an organization at this level, you always have to think very carefully about how to protect the organization and not in any way put it in any kind of jeopardy or hazard. So everything has to be completely open. We have open records, we have open policies, we have everything.
Especially when you are under the microscope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if I'm still, but
not you, but all Muslim organization. I mean, I know that for a fact. That's many times if you give money to somebody. For example, if I send some money to a poor person in Pakistan through bank, after I have said okay, then there comes a box on my computer which says that this information will be given to Secret Service.
Yeah.
So it says
that's you.
Okay, that's me. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Which countries does your organization help, or where you are working? You are working in many different countries. Just few.
I can say there are 2 places I will not mention because we're working, we can say, under the radar. We have to, because we're not allowed to
go there.
give aid there. We're not working in any way, in any place in a political matter.
No.
But there are some countries that simply don't allow that we...
Who doesn't allow you?
Well, if I told you, I'd already told you, and
Okay,
I won't.
okay.
So, but I can
guess.
tell you, Bangladesh, China, India, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, Syria, Palestine, Sudan, Somalia, Ethiopia, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Liberia, Morocco, just to mention some of them.
It's just like Red Cross.
Well, we're out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it only and primarily the Muslim people you help, or you help the poor?
We help the poor.
Okay.
We have no religious agenda. Although our name is Danish Muslim Aid, that's because the organization was founded and is run by Muslims. But we have no religious agenda or political agenda in the work we do. When we dig a well, anybody can drink. For instance, in one of the parts of Pakistan where we dig most wells, that's a part called Tarparkar.
Yes.
Tarparkar, about half the population is Hindu.
Yes.
But
it's a desert area.
It doesn't matter to us. I mean,
okay.
We dig wells and people get water, and just like the Lord lets the rain fall on everybody, so we should let everybody drink water.
Beautiful. Do you also work with the Red Cross and other international organizations?
No, I haven't. I have done some voluntary work for poor people in Denmark, homeless people and stuff. But never as an international aid organization.
But your organization doesn't work with other organizations?
Occasionally we do.
Okay.
We have, for instance, made the water project in Zanzibar together with Dan Mission, which is we can say missionary organization. We are making a project in northern Pakistan, what we call community-based disaster risk reduction program, which is a capacity building program for teaching people how to handle disasters. We're making that together with Engineers Without Borders. Okay. And we don't shy away from any cooperation with anybody.
So anybody who stretches his or her hand, you take it?
More or less.
More or less.
I think
there's somebody you won't work with.
Yeah, yeah. I could imagine organizations that we may not work with, but generally, yes.
Do you also work? You told me that you do some work in Denmark, no? Mostly like during Ramadan and Christmas and other festival. But you also work with homeless people, because I know there are a lot of homeless people. People from Africa, Asia, they are asylum seekers who have no place to live. So, do you maybe think that they also need your help? Yeah,
I believe so. But right now we don't actually do with homeless people. But I think it would be a good idea. Yeah. It could be. Because
the Copenhagen commune, other communes, they just shy them away, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very big problem they have.
Yeah. It's a matter of capacity. We have to look at what kind of human resources we have and what kind of funding we have. And those two are deciding issues for what we can do and what we cannot do. Okay. We are looking into widening our range of services offered inside Denmark. But for many years we've been working towards we can say real poor countries in the world. Now we're doing that, we can say, at a scale big enough, and we have strength enough maybe also to start looking into issues in Denmark. And the first one has then been the Ramadan basket. But we may actually take up more issues also. Yes. And that could be one of them. There could be others too.
And you told me that there are a lot of voluntary people who help you, but you don't have any staff who's working, you know, like who get pay and, you know, or it's only voluntary work.
Oh, there's some. I'm on payroll. We have 4 people on payroll.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they do the administration.
Yes.
Mostly. Well, not full time.
Huh? Full time?
No, not full time.
No, nobody's full time. Yeah. We give more than full time, but we're not paid full time.
No, of course. But at least.
But we have a clear policy that we will take up to 10% of funds into administration. Last year it was 8%. So we keep it low, and 10 is definitely the very maximum we would go to.
If the Ministry of Culture or Danida or any other ministry comes and say, Mr. Wahid, here is 10 million, would you accept it?
Depends.
Depends what they ask you to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That's why we're not taking governmental funds right now, because we have opted out. We want to do things as we want to do things. And we don't want to be part of any kind of political agenda or anything else like that. So it would strongly depend on what would be the criteria to take any money.
The reason why I asked is that Denmark now wants to give more support to refugees in the camps there.
Yeah, well,
and I know that you have been working with the refugees too.
Basically, I think that's a good idea. You give, let's say, 1,000 kroner into something in Denmark, it doesn't reach very far, but if you give it into Pakistan, for instance, or any other place, it does reach a whole lot farther. So I'm all for doing a lot of work in the areas where the refugees are many and they're crowded together and services are cheaper.
Okay.
Actually, for many years when I was still a man of opinion, I often stated the fact that I think that all of Europe, in its own interest, should give what we could compare to a Marshall help to all of North Africa. Because otherwise, I said, otherwise we will see too many immigrants coming in. We have them now. But if we had, in due time, made strong, sustainable economical markets and investment in North Africa, we could have definitely stopped a lot of this traffic. But we haven't, so.
You also have been working in Gaza, I think?
Yes, we are working in Gaza.
Yes, but how do you come there? I mean, it's difficult to come to Gaza through Israel. There's only port of entry.
Yeah, but we can
you
get
come there without any problem?
Yes, we can get there.
Okay.
And that is through the Erez crossing, which is directly from Israel into Gaza, yes. Okay. Because now the crossing over Sinai is not possible. So there's only one way, and that's the way we have been into Gaza, yes.
And I heard recently that you went to Lebanon.
Yes.
For this charity work, and you were not allowed there.
It was actually not for the charity. I went for a conference. I was invited as a scholar or as a famous Islamic thinker and as a speaker in this conference, and I was refused entry, and I wasn't told why.
At the Beirut airport?
At the Beirut airport, yeah.
You can come to Israel, but not to Lebanon.
Yeah.
What about the situation in Burma and Sri Lanka? Because you hear in the newspapers and TV that there have been a lot of killing and oppression, even massacres of Muslim communities in those two countries. You also focus that area?
Well, Burma is a place where what we read about Burma, mainly in Denmark, is this terrible situation in the Arakan province, where Muslims are being detained into camps, and they are stripped off their nationality, and they're stripped off a lot of rights. But in the rest of Burma, which I think it has 11 or 14 provinces, I don't remember right now, but it's a big country. And in the rest of the country, Muslims are scattered all over, and there's no problems. I've been into Burma a number of times, and I've met with people from all different religions, and they live together. There's a mosque here, there's a Buddhist temple here, there's a Christian church there, next to each other, and there's no problems in general. So it's in one particular part of the country they have this problem.
Coming from Burma to, for example, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Somalia, do you feel safe when you go there?
Basically, yes.
Okay, they don't bother you?
No, and if they would, I think I would know how to answer. I was discussing with a friend, we go to Somalia sometimes, and last time we were there, we actually lost our way in the desert, so to speak. Our car with the guide and the gunslingers was lost in the desert, and we were alone. But we managed to navigate through the night in the desert until we reached the point that we were actually going for. And none of us were actually scared at any point, because I speak Arabic. I can introduce myself as an imam to these people. My friend with whom I was with is married to a Somali woman, so he has a clan. He can even sort of say, well, my wife is from that and that clan, you know. So we wouldn't.
You have to know people to.
Yeah, or at least if you have some kind of title that they respect.
Yeah.
If I was like a businessman or something, they may not respect me, but being an imam, I think they would.
They won't
They are
mess,
deeply
they don't
religious
mess
people.
with you because they're afraid.
Well, they're deeply religious people.
Yes.
They respect the religious authority. So I think they would just say, okay, sorry to bother.
So what do you send to, when Abdul Wahid goes and you also go to these countries, what do you take with you? Money, medicine, food, clothes, what do you do?
Well, actually, I haven't been
Okay,
anywhere yet.
But you pack all those things, you must...
Yeah, I would like to go to one day. We have discussed a little bit about Somalia, but I haven't been away.
So what do you
yet.
take with you? Money, medicine, food, clothes, shoes?
Normally we take a bit of money because it doesn't look good if we come empty-handed. But most of our money we transfer by bank because of the transparency of the matter.
Okay.
So it's only like small amounts we take with us to have in the pocket when we get out there. We can take food or clothes, not food, but medicine eventually. But problem with medicine is that there are certain regulations for taking it into any country.
So you buy locally things?
Yeah.
Okay.
Last time, for instance, we went to India. We had hardly any luggage with us of our own because you can buy everything cheap in India. So we filled our bags with toys for kids.
Children.
Yeah. And when we went to meet these poor families that we support, we had this big bag of toys we could open up, and the kids, because these kids, they don't get toys.
No.
You know, when we have families out there who earn 100 kroner a month. 100 kroner a month, that's like $15 a month. That's the total salary, total income for a family.
And big families also.
Yeah, well, not necessarily, but even if you're one person, what does $15 a month do? So for a lone woman with 2 or 3 kids, there's nothing. So when we come in with 250 kroner, which is 2.5 times as much as she can earn herself, then that helps. But of course, a woman who has that kind of money, she doesn't spend money on toys for her kid. So when the kids see this bag full of toys, they go crazy.
In Denmark, often organizations like Red Cross and Danish Refugee Council, they send people door to door to collect money. They're allowed to do. Maybe, do you think you will do that too also?
Yes, eventually we will. We have actually the possibility to do it, but we have to organize and structure it. And it's a big task to do. We may do it in part of Denmark, a region, for instance, Sealand or something.
Yes.
But actually, we as an organization, I think the only Muslim, or actually the only Muslim organization in Denmark, we have this option or this possibility because we're a member of the umbrella organizations of fundraising organizations in Denmark.
So you can raise a lot more money.
Yes, but it also takes a lot of structure.
That's
and
true.
if we do this, we don't want to flunk. We want to do it good the first time, so we don't come out there as losers.
So if I ask you, what are your future plans? Because I can hear you have done a lot of work, you know. Which direction would you be going now?
More or less the same as we are,
Okay.
but we will expand in depth and we will expand in width, I foresee. Like this year, for instance, we have started in Nepal. We have never been in Nepal before. I'm going to Nepal after 3 days.
Okay.
We've never worked in Nepal before. And we are just launching Yemen as well. And we haven't been in Yemen. So we're taking in more countries gradually. And then we're deepening in the places where we are. For instance, like these social efforts we want to do in Denmark with, for instance, with homeless people or whatever. So we're trying to dig deeper also where we are. So we widen and we deepen at the same time.
Widening and deepening, 2 beautiful words, and I'm sure that my viewers have listened to Kenneth and Abdul Wahid. And please dig deep in your pockets and contribute as much as you can to Danish Muslim Aid. Thank you very much, Abdul Wahid. It's always a pleasure to meet you, and to Kenneth.